Hey, how's it going out there today? Remo back. We are out on my new Snowrunner mod map. It's going to be another highway focused map that is going to be added to Highway Haulin to the region. And I've finally come up with a name. We're going to be calling this sucker Sherwood Ridge. Wanted to incorporate the ridge part into the name just because it is a pretty main feature and focal point when you get driving around this map. It divides the middle of the map into two different areas, town, farming, mountains and stuff for logging, so it should give us all a pretty good adventure. Today we're out with the new John Hot Rod incredible mod truck, which is the Super HD 350. Got red line tires, stock engine, trail rider engine, stock gearbox. Overall, this thing handles pretty sweet on the pavement on first impressions here. I haven't actually been out in it for any amount of time yet, so this is my first rip. Usually run the red lines on maps like this because they do give you better pavement adhesion, we'll call it, friction. But I'm quite happy with this. This thing I can turn pretty good and it seems to react, so who knows, maybe they've updated something in the game as it went along. So we're going to be heading over and doing a little bit of a task here, but first we're just going to check out a bit of a recovery mission that's going to be coming up for you. Don't know if I can reach that with a crane yet, haven't tested. We'll see if I make it craneable. I guess there's always mods, right? Anyways, that's something to look forward to when it all comes through. What we're actually doing right now is going to be a mission eventually. I haven't obviously added it all into the game. I can say right now that the whole map is finally covered. Now, unfortunately, there's still quite a bit of work to do, so we're not ready yet, but all the buildings are where they're supposed to be, parking lots, all that kind of stuff. But there's no ambience around anywhere. It's all laid out. Most of the trails are done. I am going to squeeze some more trails in and around areas between some of the roads and that, just for some fun little like ATV small style trails. So I got a little bit more of that to add in, and again, I just got to go around to every single building, and you put the little things around houses like gardens and sheds and maybe a wheelbarrow and all that little stuff. So be slowly working around through. I've got a whole bunch of tasks planned already, and really there's going to be quite a variety. There's going to be some general, just take some stuff over to here for stock. I might do a garbage run again like I did in the original Highway Hauling, although not quite as extensive, we'll say this time. I do have some plans to stack some missions, so for instance, you're going to be building a paper factory, or at least upgrading it, but you're going to need to get some logs over to the paper factory and then the cellulose over to the port. Same with some of the wood loading is delivering the logs to the mill, and then the lumber from the mill over to the store, and then you'll have access to more wood. Just a bunch of little things like that to keep you busy. I have a few ideas of incorporating some houses into either mission recoveries or maybe go pick something up from a house. There's a few ideas I had written down. Definitely going to have a bunch of recoveries, obviously, always do. There is a mining area that I've added in over the side of the ridge that has a fairly tight little trail that we're going to have to get some stuff in and out of there. Maybe utilize the new silver cargo. Things like that. I was going to look at working some of the movie things into this map, maybe in terms of maybe setting up some sort of movie like TV shoot over in the mud park, and then maybe working in a contract that you could complete for it after you set the cameras up, kind of sell it that way, and then maybe a timed run across one of the mud pits. I don't know, something fun like that. Here we are at the hardware store, lumber store I should say. We're just picking up this trailer and we're going to go take it up to a place that is up on the top of the ridge. Should have got the higher hitch on this thing. I didn't think it would be quite that low. I know this trailer sits pretty high, but should be an appropriate truck to drag this thing around, no problem though, with a 350. This area, this store, I was one of the spots I kind of started on. You can see there's no culverts in anywhere. Again, it's all pretty roughed in. I haven't put signs up on the buildings. I've got most of the stop signs, which I think we're safe to run it. Probably not going to get hit here. At least not unless we're in multiplayer. But you can see all the garbage on the front of that model. That just comes like that. So I usually cover it up with things and make it specific stores. So that's what I'm really working at now. And then I'm going to lay out a bunch of the tasks. I should mention that over in the farming area, I actually added in like a small fish farm, like a pond setup you might see around Ontario-ish, is something I kind of modeled it off of. So there's going to be a few tasks for that. There is a cannery. I don't know if we're going to build that building or it might already be built, but you're going to deliver some fish to there, which I was thinking maybe using the water tanks would be the most logical decision. And then perhaps some of the stuff you need to deal with fish farming to be delivered over to the farm. A bunch of ideas like that that'll hopefully give us some variety. This is not going to be a super tough map to navigate. Some of the logging and stuff will be challenging, but in general, most of this is pretty reasonable roads. There's a good chunk of paved roads like this, and then the back roads are kind of the other half of the map, so there should be a fairly even split. But none of it is going to be really super challenging off-road, but there is going to be some driving skill needed because there are some tight turning roads and you're going to haul some of the big high saddle trailers around. I have an idea for at least 3 or 4 of those. A lot of the stuff is going to be picking the shortest route in the rough terrain, but I think it's going to work really well with the region. It might not be quite as interesting by itself. I'm going to put it out regardless. And it'll certainly have more to do on the map in the region version, just because I can bring stuff from this map to the other maps for a few more missions to just kind of hide around the area. So all in all, I think it's going to be pretty fun, but it's not going to be a super tough map. It's going to be pretty chill all in all. There isn't a ton of mud. I did add a whole bunch of puddles up top though on some of those trails. You'll see we're going to go through one of these trails that goes up to the top of the ridge, and it's mudded up fairly decent. Although I haven't checked mud depth. I usually go too light and then make it the right depth afterwards. It's not going to be anything too deep. It's just going to be probably annoying. You're going to be more likely to flip the load over hauling logs up there than you are get stuck somewhere, although you could get hung up. In the other video, pulling the windmill blade up to the top of the ridge, there was 3 or 4 spots that the trailer kind of hangs up. I was in a Longhorn 4520, so it's got pretty good clearance, but nothing I couldn't winch out of. I think I'm gonna leave it just for that extra bit of challenge. I've mentioned it before, but this bridge is actually going to be something you're going to need to deliver logs to build. I've just placed something in that I can get across right now. This is one of the easier roads to get over to the farming area. The other bigger road's quite a bit easier, but it's definitely longer. I doubt you're going to get a high saddle down this one. There should be a cutoff up here. I haven't been up this trail yet. It's one that I just recently finished. But you will get a good look at a little bit more mud up here on this run. Definitely going to work some more ruts and stuff into this road. Nothing ridiculous, but just make it a little bit more challenging to navigate. I must say, as usual, from John Hot Rod, love the truck. They just look great, feel great, and they're so customizable. This comes with the Aussie package for some of my Australian maps. Figured I'd keep it North America looking. Actually went for the Raptor package on this one. You may notice I'm usually driving blue trucks. I just like some of these deep dark blues. Always been my color. This mud's pretty reasonable. Again, I have red line tires on, so I'm going to have a little better mud traction than a vanilla truck. This map is going to be vanilla friendly. Most of the Highway Haulin 2 region should be. And I will go back and just kind of tweak around some of the logging roads on the second Highway Haulin map, which is Bentwood County. I've had a few say that they're just a little bit overboard. Not a serious change. I'm just going to go through with the smooth tool and just kind of take... I know it's very easy to overdo it and make stuff that really catches tires and that, so... I'm using the weather setting with the dev tools up in the corner, and I can tell right now it goes funny sometimes. There's no shadows anywhere here. It looks really weird. We'll do in a second is switch back to the actual game timed weather and timing in sky. Maybe it was just the area, because it's kind of gone back to normal now. I'm using the brand new DLC weather right now, so that has the sky and the weather from the newest DLC. It never gets terribly bright though. I was thinking about switching it. We're lost here anyways. Well, not lost, but as I said, there's quite a few little trails up here. Can get a touch confusing. Yeah, so we're going to go straight down past the swamp down here. Make a right, and then it should be on our left, not too far along. If I remember from building in-game, it should be just before a swamp. It's just a little hunter's cabin. There'll be a few up here. Keep an eye out, because I will sneak some, you know, the odd tiny little scout or a fuel trailer or whatnot up here to be found. Give you a hand. All the fuel's at the bottom of the hill. Let me know if you want to see more mud up here. I'm definitely trying to keep this map in general a little bit easier. Not even easier, but a little more straightforward. More about the driving, hauling. It's not going to be that many little off-roading trails. There's going to be some though, don't get me wrong. And as always, like a lot of the Highway Haulin builds, I've always, you know, I always considered the fact that maybe you'd bring a truck along to do the job and then have a truck that runs the roads, just with different tire setups and so on, which is a possibility too with this map. There is going to be some hay bales that we're going to have some craning jobs. Like I think we're going to go pick those up from the field, take them over to a few different areas. I got to think up of a few crane jobs that's been requested by a few folks, so Probably do the cabins like usual, maybe up to one of these logging areas. It's tough because this map is fairly lived in. Like, it's not out in the middle of nowhere. So we're going back to a different style of mission. More about putting the miles on and the logistics and how much you can carry at once to do multiple things. I think I'm up around like 18 or 20 missions already written out. That's not counting any recoveries. So there'll be lots to do. This is it. We're here. Ideas, opinions, shoot it down below. Always appreciate the support. And talk to you again soon with hopefully some missions in the next video.